What's up, y'all? Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm here doing a 10 before the end. Let's get into it. Okay, so before I jump into the 10 books that I want to finish reading by the end of 2025, let me first kind of go over how I decide what to read. What I decide to read is pretty much based on 5 different categories. The first one being required reading. So what I have to read for work, what I have to read for school, what I need to read for a conference, what I need to read for my kids' school, whatever I have to read that will require something of me. It is expected that I read this so that I can do something with it. That's one. Category 2 is book club picks. So I'm a part of a virtual book club. Those books get put on my list. I'm a part of some in-person book clubs. Those get put on my list. And then a part of another virtual professional book club. Those books get put on my list. Category 3 is special interest books, special topics. I will, let's say I really want to learn about, circus culture in the 1800s. I'll make sure to put some of those books on my TBR. Let's say I'm really interested in a certain mental health diagnoses. I'll put that on my TBR. Let's say I'm interested in, the politics of black hair. Just whatever that special topic is, I'll put it on my TBR. Category 4 are time-sensitive recommendations. So, let's say my husband was like, oh, you really should read this, this, and that, because I'm going to read it. We could talk about it. I'll make sure to prioritize reading that. If my teacher is like, y'all should really read XYZ, and I know I'm about to have to talk to her in a few weeks, I'll prioritize reading that. If somebody that I know was gave me a recommendation or purchased me a book and I want to, be appreciative, I will make sure to read that. Kind of give them my feedback on the book too. So yeah, 4 is time-sensitive reads. The last and 5th category is for spontaneity. It's my mood reader books. It's whatever pops up on my feed and I'm like, oh, I want to read that. Or whatever the case may be. Anything that sparks my interest in the moment that I want to add to that list. And I will kind of ration those out over the course of a year, give or take. Okay, so this is a mix of all of those. That's what this list is. Let's just jump into it. The first one is The Fellowship of the Ring. So not this entire thing. It's 3 books in here. Only this first portion. You can see it's not that much. Only this first portion. That's book 1, 300 some pages. The Fellowship of the Ring. I have started it. I think I'm going to be able to get done with it. I don't know. I said I'm going to buckle up, hunker down, and actually get her done. But yeah, The Fellowship of the Ring. This would be the last book. Last year, my husband did a book advent challenge for me where he gifted me a book every day of December leading up to Christmas. And this was one of them. This is the last one on the list. So I definitely want to finish it before the end of the year. Last one. I feel like Lord of the Rings needs no introduction. This is your classic fantasy. Yeah, we'll see, y'all. I will obviously do a review when I finish, but that's the first one. Book 1 of the trilogy, which is Fellowship of the Ring. Okay. The next one. I got this whole stack. I'm going to have to try to figure out where to put them. Okay, the next one is Dopesick, Dealers, Doctors, and the Drug Company That Addicted America by Beth Macy. I actually have her more recent book, Paper Girl, but I wanted to read this one first before I read that one. So I definitely want to get through with this throughout the year. Before the end of the year. And it just kind of goes over the impact, the epidemic, the situation that is the opioid addiction crises. And I'm very interested to read about this. Where does this fall on my list? This is just kind of one that, kind of like a mood read book. Like I said, I knew I wanted to read Paper Girl, her other book, and I want to read this first for no particular reason, but I was also interested in it. So I was like, okay, yeah, let me read this first because I have it. So that's the first one, Dopesick. The next one, oh, the next one is Daddy Was a Number Runner by Louise Merriweather. This book is a coming of age story during the Great Depression. I think in and around it takes place in Harlem. And it's just a coming of age story about a Black girl named Francie. I think I got this from a secondhand used bookstore. And I was immediately like attracted to it based on the title and the cover. Then I read the synopsis and I was like, coming of age, Harlem, around the Great Depression time, the little girl named Francie. Why did that matter that her name was Francie? I don't know. But it all kind of worked together for me. And it's just supposed to be one of those novels that really highlight Black life during this time. Very excited. I love this cover. Yeah, very excited to read this. I think it was first published in the 70s. Let me double check. Originally published in 1970 and then republished in 1986. So yeah, very excited to read this. I'm trying to think of the order that I want to read these in. A part of me thinks, would this be the first? No, this might be my second or third one that I read because I do have a couple of other ones that are more like time sensitive, like I mentioned before. So yeah, Daddy Was a Number Runner. Can't wait to see what that's about. It's just so beautiful. Okay, next we have Lose Your Mother, A Journey Along the Atlantic Slave Route by Saidiya Hartman. And I know this is going to be tough. I've actually started this book. I'm going to restart it from scratch. So I got to like page 30 something. Was it last year? I can't remember when, but I started this. I feel like it was last year. And I was just like, I just wasn't in the mood. I wasn't in the mood to read it. I think I picked a bad time to read it. I was like not in a good place. And I just did not want to read this book. So I didn't. Actually, it was 2 years ago. Let me see. Yeah, now I'm thinking about it because it was before I started this channel. It was 2 years ago. And I just was not in the mood to read this. But I knew it was what I read, I knew that it's the type of book that I would like to read. So I'm finally circling back to it, where it pretty much goes over and traces the history of people through the transatlantic slave trade. As you can see in the title, it's probably going to be very like emotional, heartbreaking. But I knew I wanted to get back to it. Yeah, insightful. That's that one. Yeah. Okay. Next, this is the second book I'm going to read from this list. It is Butcher's Crossing by John Williams. So this book is set in the 1800s and it follows these people who are hunting buffalo, I believe. Yes, buffalo. But it has, from what I understand, it has like an element of male friendship. It has an element of expedition. It's supposed to be like super thought-provoking. I actually got this year on my birthday. Definitely want to read this. This will be the second one that I read from this. Yeah, very excited. Yeah, so let's see. Very excited about this. Okay, next. This is the first one that I'm reading from this list. Not usually. Half the time, I don't remember where I got certain recommendations from. Half the time, that's true. In this case of the next book, I know exactly where I got this recommendation from. This is even before I started my channel. I was watching Chocolate Covered Pages, which I will put her information here. And she like raved about this book. I don't want to say rave. She highly, highly recommended it to everybody, but specifically Black women. And so I got it. The Street by Ann Petry. And it follows the story of a Black woman fighting to raise her son in the current environment that she's in. From what I gather, it's a beautiful story surrounding Black womanhood, surrounding parenthood, identity, resiliency, all of the things that I like in a book. Is supposed to be like a Black canon book. Very excited to read it. Very, very excited. I know it probably has some social criticism in it. Can't wait to get into it. So this will be book one, the first one I'm going to read from this list. Yes, can't wait to get in that. This one is a reread. It's a reread, but I'm reading it because this is like one of those book club. I say book club, but it's really just a buddy read with my friend. That's Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. I read this book once before, and I enjoyed it, but I'm reading it again because I'm reading it with her starting December 1st, I think. We're going to read this and discuss it and like take our time and take the whole month to read this book. She's very busy and she's like she's not a new reader, but she's new to reading for leisure as an adult. So we're going to take our time. We're reading this throughout the whole month. I'm excited to reread it because I liked it. I liked it when I read it. Yeah, it's about two men, again, friendship. The way I would describe it is kind of like how I just described Butcher's Crossing. Two men of friendship that's in their current time. They're dealing with tyranny. Set in California, actually just like East of Eden, which I read earlier this year. That was my first time reading East of Eden. But yeah, it's just, it's a good time. I can't wait to read this for her, get her takes, and review it here. So yeah, Mice and Men. It's a thin one. Let's see how many pages this is. Thought it was going to be sub 100. Not quite. 103. Okay. Next. This one is one that I'm reading for... What list did I say this was in? I guess it's like a merger between time sensitive and like that required reading. This is a recommendation from my professor. She actually gifted me this book. And it's something that I meet with her at a certain time in December, and I want to have this book read. That is A City on Mars. Can we settle space? Should we settle space? And have we really thought this through? By Kelly and Zach Weinersmith. So, yeah. I guess the title is pretty self-explanatory. It's just talking about starting anew somewhere else. And the implications of that, I'm assuming, based on what, the title says alone, that it's just a book about critiquing the current exploration of life on Mars, positives, downsides. Have we thought this through? Should we do it? The global impact, I'm assuming. Let's see what else. Is it a good idea? Let's see. Can you make babies in space? Should corporations govern space settlements? What about space war? Yeah, I'm actually interested. Very excited. Very excited. It's a lot of illustrations in here. Okay. Very excited to read this. So yeah, I wanted to make sure I have it read before I talk to her because she did gift us a copy and I want to, read it. Yeah, A City on Mars. Two more, y'all. Two more. Okay. Next is Caste, The Origins of Our Discontents by Isabel Wilkerson. I have not read any book by Isabel Wilkerson before. I have this one and I have the adaptation for young readers. So I do, is it for this? Or the Warmth of the Suns. I think it's this. I think this is the one I have the young reader adaptation for. So I want to read this first because my son and I will be reading through the young reader adaptation version of this. I think like in February or March or something. I want to make sure I read this one first, really to compare and contrast, also to give me a little more context. And I just want to see, I hear great things about this. This book is heavy on class, systems that are hidden, like behind a veil, very much operational, but very much kept out of sight of, common folk. Still operational though. And so I'm very interested to see how throughout history this class system has been upheld. Like I have ideas of how, but it says this links the caste system of America, India, and Nazi Germany. Wilkerson explores 8 pillars that underlie the caste systems across civilizations, including divine will, bloodlines, and stigma. Very interested to read this. And I hear great things about her as a writer, period, but also about Caste. Okay, lastly, last book on this list. This is probably the least likely to get read. Like, this is at the bottom of the list for real. I'm going to read it, even if it's in January. I'm going to try to finish this before the end of the year. But this is a book that I'm reading after all of the other ones because this doesn't fall into any of those categories outside of that spontaneity piece. So it's at the bottom of this list. But I still want to read it. I still hear great things about it. That's 50 Words for Rain by Asha Lemme. Very much want to read this. So many people say this is a great book. It's a coming of age story about a young woman's acceptance post World War II. Is it set in Japan? Yeah, it's set in Japan. Spanning decades and continuity, 50 Words for Rain is a dazzling epic about the ties that bind, the ties that give you strength, and what it means to be free. Okay, so I see some buzzwords that speak to me in this blurb, which is I saw grandparents, love when they include grandparents and coming of age stories because me personally, mine had a big impact on my life for whichever way you want to take that. 2, it's in Japan. That's interesting because I read one book this year that was set partially in Japan. I have read one book set partially in Japan, and that was Flashlight. And a lot of people say it's really good. I remember I posted it on my Instagram story, and people said it was good. Let me see. This was published in 2020. So yeah, this is the last book on the list. I do want to get to it, but the other ones kind of trump this one a little bit. I'm going to try to get it done by the end of 20. But yeah, I told y'all I got the other ones to get through. And we'll see. I will try to finish this by the end of 2025. I can't guarantee it. I'm going to try. We'll see. That's it for me, y'all. Have y'all read any of these? What's your 10 before the end? Do you have any of these in common with me? Let me know. And I'm going to see you on the next one.